Q Brothers.
What up, Laura?
What's up, New York? I'm so happy to see you guys.
We are so happy to see you, too. We're
John
happy to be here.
Leguizamo presents Othello the Remix.
He does.
Now at the Westside Theatre.
Yep.
You guys are in previews.
We are, for a few more days.
And opening on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Now, this is obviously a time in history when hip-hop and theater and their intersection is getting a lot of attention. You guys are innovators in this kind of, in that intersection. You have been combining Shakespeare plays and rap music for 20 years. And you started right around here.
Yeah.
GQ, you were getting ready to graduate from NYU.
Yeah, to School of the Arts, the Experimental Theater Wing at NYU.
And was it as part of your senior project, your thesis?
It's an independent project. I just had extra time because I finished enough courses early on that I wanted to do an independent project at ETW and applied for the space and the $300 they give you and the slot. So I just said I wanted to merge hip hop and theater, and it was 2 blocks away where we started doing it in a studio at 721 Broadway, and we ran out of time writing an original piece. We only had 5 weeks to create this thing, and 2 weeks into it, we only had like 2 pages of original material. So my friend was like, we got to adapt something that already exists.
And in the public domain.
Yeah, Shakespeare's free, right? So that's how we landed on it initially, but when we translated the first 2 stanzas of The Comedy of Errors, it just made complete sense to us.
Well, Shakespeare was more or less a rapper in his own time. It was he took the language of the people and made it lyrical.
That's exactly.
And he had things that he was doing for the people that were in the standing room only seats, and he had body humor for them, and braided through that was also sort of this elevated language and beautiful poetry for people that would appreciate that as well. And so there was just like, there's so much going on. We always liken it to The Simpsons, where like you can be watching The Simpsons and 3 generations of a family will all laugh for different reasons.
And then sometimes the same. There's overlap in those circles.
And so we try and keep it classic in that way,
So that first show you did was called The Comedy of Errors.
That was called The Comedy of Errors, yeah.
And how many Shakespeare plays have you adapted over the 20 years since then?
Well, 3 have been produced. The Comedy, Funk It Up About Nothing, Othello the Remix,
Q
Q Gents 4, and actually Rome, Sweet Rome, and I Heart Juliet.
Yeah, so about 7
produced
or so.
on a first folio university level, but we haven't taken them commercial yet.
So let there be no doubt, these are not imitators. These are innovators. I want to talk about Othello the Remix because what you do is not just retelling the Othello story through modern music. You've also set it in a really modern setting in the music industry.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to put you on the spot a little bit.
Cool.
Jay, I know that you're a beatboxer and you're the music director of Q Brothers, and G, you play Iago, and I was hoping you might give us a couple of lines that sort of set up
Of Iago's opening thing?
Yeah.
You want us to hear some of
Why
that?
I Hate the More.
Cool.
Do you want us in these chairs, or can we use the space?
You can use the space, sure.
Yeah.
On the wine. 3 of the hottest hip-hop producers in town told them my album should drop next and that I should throw down. Now, I know what I should be. I know what I'm worth, but Othello just ignores me and says,
Cassio's first.
yo, battle after battle after battle with this crew. I murdered mad MCs, but what's Othello do? He deals the freshman a fresh hand, makes him his best man, lessens my chances by making me yes man. Oh, Cassio's this,
What?
and Cassio's that.
What?
But he don't know jack, cause Cassio can't rap. He's a poster child pinup boy in a land of pop. I'm half man, half beastie boy when I drop. My shit is John Blade. This kid is just an actor. I live what I say. He's just a candy rapper. He's anything but hot. And I get the cold shoulder. His EP needs an MD to cross over. Every time he make noise, I get annoyed, man. I heard his latest song and he belong in a boy band. He make music for little teenage white chicks. Dance around smiling while we make hype shit. Othello's rich, but he keeps me poor. Well, now it's time to settle the score. Hey, he never lets me get my foot in the door. And this is why I hate the more.
Yeah. So as you may have gleaned from that number, Iago is a rapper who, in this version, Iago's a rapper who is ready to have his moment, but then this up-and-comer Othello sort of swoops in and steals the spotlight.
Cassio, yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah, Cassio. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so it's a true adaptation in that we did change the setting and the time and made it modern. And so when we set it in the modern music industry, we kind of like were thinking of archetypes in the hip hop world of who these people would be. As you know, we grew up in the golden era of hip hop. We grew up on '80s tapes and then became people who did hip hop. During the '90s when hip hop was in its most cutting edge and awesome. It was not pop music yet. It was still a counterculture,
Right.
and you had to find it. And so we like love that. And then there's at the same time there's a part of us that loves that people appreciate it now. And that's a kind of a struggle that any fan of anything goes through when you're like, I like their early stuff. You know, everybody has, certain stuff that you do that to, and you go, I love that they're getting shine, but I really liked them when they were mine. You know what I mean? And so I think we internally have that struggle, and so this play kind of embodies that. And so, Iago is like sort of like an early Eminem. He's a very hip hop purist. It's about lyricism. It's about rhyme scheme. It's about hard beats and head nodding, and there shouldn't be singing on the hooks, and there shouldn't be stuff like that, and he's watching hip hop go pop literally at this time. And Othello meets Desdemona, who's this beautiful songstress, and she takes his music to a new level, and he becomes a hip hop mogul, and he craves that sort of crossover.
Jay-Z.
So he's sort of a Jay-Z kind of figure, or The Game, or he's a mogul, at 50 Cent. And then when he decides who he's going to put out next in his camp, which is what happened in the late 90s and early 2000s, is everyone got their own label deal and put out their crew, right? And so then he decides to put on Cassio instead of putting out Iago's album next. And Cassio is very much like the Fresh Prince. And he's like, and Iago's pretty salty that he thinks he's going corny, and he's just kind of trying to make it bigger. And so, I can see both sides of it, but obviously you can't because you're not supposed to, you know what I'm saying?
So it's not just the two of you on stage. Can you talk a little bit about the rest of your crew, the collective?
Definitely. Pastel Pringle and Jackson Doran are Q Brothers company members, and they're our family. Pas and I studied at Bates College over 20 years ago together, and that's where we met. And he and Jay quickly gelled because they're the biggest hip-hop heads who can talk about hip-hop for like 3 hours at the very least every time it's brought up. So they gelled real well. And we started working together for that long. And then Jackson Doran... that was before I transferred to NYU, so it was only my last 2 years of school that I found what I wanted to do and where I actually fell in love with school. I never liked school until I went to experimental theater wing. And then Pas moved to New York, Jay moved to New York. Jackson Doran, Jay met at some party because Jackson was freestyling over the DVD menu music for Napoleon Dynamite and challenged Jay to a rap battle, and Jay was like, "Oh, are you serious?" And he just wiped Jackson like on the floor like a few times over, and Jackson was like, "Oh man," he's like, "You want to hang out sometime?" And and they did, and they both love whiskey, so they met again at a bar randomly, I think.
And then he came into his audition, and he actually just forgot every line of it and just freestyled about how he was screwing up his audition, and he like kind of like threw all the papers up in the air and like apologized and like grabbed his bag like kind of all in rhyme, and then was like sorry, and then just like ran out, and he left the room, and me and G looked at each other like,
That's the guy.
That's awesome. And that example that you guys just performed, which was, I'm so excited that you did that here, by the way, we heard the Beastie Boys reference.
Yeah.
There are so many clever references worked into this show. I mean, everything from like Game of Thrones, I heard a Tom Petty reference. There,
REM references.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are not hip hop at all, but
not
then
at
there are others,
Tennis
like there's
references.
a Monty Python reference in there. I mean, I'm sure that there are some that I was frantically scribbling in my notebook. Like,
Yeah,
trying
there
to
was
remember them
another
all.
one in that his EP needs an MD to cross over. EPMD.
The crossover was like one of their biggest
Oh, yeah,
hits.
yeah.
So.
That's awesome. So
We embed them.
They're riddled throughout. You know, Common Sense, the rapper from Chicago, was our favorite rapper growing up and in high school. So he did that he had like 7 of those in every line.
Yeah, we
Right.
still
And
find
So,
new ones.
you know, we were
of
just kind of like,
music that we know.
that's been our paradigm for.
well, and Shakespeare did that as well.
Yeah.
Just constantly putting in these references and things that we wouldn't necessarily hear now, seeing a modern
That's why we got
Shakespeare
footnotes,
production.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
But you also included a lot of Shakespearean references, like in one of the verses you talk about the beast with 2 backs, and other terms that were originated in.
For sure, we wanted to pay homage to his work, of course, because that's what we're doing.
Did I hear somewhere that it's about 15% actual Shakespeare?
That's like what G says, like when he's just kind of shooting numbers out of nowhere.
Oh, so that he made that number up?
I mean,
'Cause that rings
No
true
one-
to me.
no one probably
It's
knows
probably
it better
a good
than I do.
estimate.
What?
It's probably a good estimate.
Well, I mean, that was.
But we haven't measured
it's,
it.
It's like it goes along with what I usually say before that, which is the first line by line translation has like 60 to 70% of Shakespeare's language in it, and you cut to draft 43 or whatever we're on right now, because we actually did a rewrite even today before we froze the show.
Wait, you did a rewrite today?
We
Like,
changed-
since I saw the show 2 days ago, you've redone
we
it?
changed a lot.
No, just
I mean,
like,
it's just
you know,
like
you're
tweaking.
constantly tweaking, but we have to lock it now because they told us we have to lock it.
Well, you're less than a week away from opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fine. Like the thing that we do through the drafts is we modernize the language and we infuse it with our own so much that by this draft, I say like 15%. It could be 8 or 10%.
Only the real true, like, besides the obvious reference, like Beast with 2 backs, only like somebody who is like really has performed Othello or seen it a bunch of times,
studied it a bunch.
will see actually how much language kind of accidentally stays in.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And they go, oh, that line is almost exactly like that line because the initial one is a line for line translation, you know?
And I forgot until we were in London performing this for a while or one rendition of it, an earlier version. There was the National Theatre of London was putting on Othello at the time. We were doing a version of our Othello, the remix, and we did some crossover publicity stuff. But we went to go see it. They gave us tickets, and I was like, I mean, it was amazing. It was one of the best Shakespeare plays I've ever seen performed, and it reminded me. I was like, oh my God, I know this place so well. I forgot how much we allude to the original until I saw the original performed because we were years away from the text
3, 4
or from
years
the.
away.
Because
from the
now you're
translation.
adapting your earlier
Yes.
adaptation.
Yeah, exactly.
And
We're like on
actually,
third folio or something.
Yeah.
I like how how you talk about adaptation as a word in terms of evolution and keeping, like when a species adapts.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, we look at it from a biological standpoint that like species have to evolve to survive, and that's how we feel about great stories. Like if they don't adapt, they're not gonna survive.
If
you
the
know?
way in which we tell it doesn't evolve, then something from 500 years ago, the way it hits people then, it will never hit the people of now in the same way unless it has morphed.
Well, I'll say that I can speak for myself. I have a hard time with Shakespeare. Sometimes I find it really challenging. And as someone who loves theater and attends, 4 or 5 times a week sometimes, I still have a hard time finding a through line in for Shakespeare. And this, I suddenly want to see the original Othello again.
Yeah,
You know?
and
Because I'm like,
settling
oh,
it in
now
on-
I get what those relationships are.
You
now
just
I
want to
get
see Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Shoot. You can see right through me.
Busted.
No, I just feel like I understand it better.
I would
Yeah,
love to hear your thoughts after seeing it again, the original too. I'm fascinated by it.
So you guys have written this and you perform it, you star in it. I want to compliment especially you, Jay, on your comedic portrayals of some of the secondary characters in the show.
Thanks.
Whether you're playing Bianca or Rodrigo is probably my favorite. Rodrigo, they've turned into this nerdy video game playing geek with a lisp who somehow manages to be the heart of the show in a little.
He's just really into the magic of life, you know. Yeah.
Say some more Rodrigo stuff.
Oh, super sweet movie reference, bro.
And then Bianca.
Oh, so you think you can just leave me and you know? She's my ex-girlfriend from New York, so
She's based on someone real.
she's this New York.
And then
girl.
Loco Vito is this tennis obsessed.
Yeah, he's like a cholo gangster from the West Coast who's obsessed with like 80s and 90s tennis. I don't know why.
Somehow
I know
this
why.
all works
It's
so
because
perfectly.
Venice rhymes with tennis. We were like, we need him to be into something really not gangster. And we were like, tennis. And we're like, yeah, well, okay, when I was right this line, where's he from? And I lived in Venice, California at the time, and I'm friends with a lot of like cholo guys. So I was like, man, he's got to be from Venice, and we got
Because it rhymes with tennis.
Yeah.
But also Venice is like a Shakespearean location.
I know,
You
I
know?
No, a
Which
lot of people
makes
don't
it-
realize we mean Venice, California, and we just let them believe whatever they want.
I actually thought you might have chosen tennis because it rhymed with Venice. That it might have gone.
That is the way it happened. It's that.
Oh, it is. Yes. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's the way it happened. You're
I don't
right.
remember when I was high as hell.
It's true, he was.
So I've actually seen these guys perform before. In California this summer, I got to see a production of their adaptation of Two Gentlemen of Verona, which is called Q Gents. And whereas Othello the Remix is set in the music industry, that one's set in the world of high school football and cheerleading. And it is just as cleverly adapted.
thanks.
I hope that, I know that this show tickets are on sale through January, and hopefully it'll be around for a long time. When the time comes, 3 or 4 years from now, I hope you'll bring Q Gents to New York.
Well, hopefully we can pop away and do some one-offs of it and
Yeah.
show some people in the city. I mean, we're talking about finding a little space and doing like little
Like a Monday night, like while we're running Othello.
While we're running Othello.
On a day off on a Monday evening, just be like, all right, these 90 people get to see Q Gents, and we just do it. And just,
Please let me know
Yeah,
how I
well,
can
you'll
help
be
you with
there.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to help you guys set that up because having seen that show and having seen this one, and I'm just thrilled with what you guys are doing. To top it off, as if I didn't love what you were doing so much already, you have this long history of working with kids. You 12 years in a row at Lollapalooza,
Yep. And
Yeah, it's
at Austin City Limits.
and it's the Kids-a-Palooza stage, right?
Yeah,
Which is-
basically since Lollapalooza came back and stopped being a tour and was a Chicago-based festival, they added a family section, and a friend of ours was curating that section with Perry Farrell, and he said, I listened to your guys' most recent record. It's not like for kids, but it's not offensive. I feel like I would
Not
play
for
it with my
kids.
family.
It's called the Feel Good Album of the Year. You were asking me if I want to promote anything. That's free on QBrothersOfficial.com. It's a download that me and Jay and I made like 14
we just give
years
it
ago.
away.
We
so.
give it away. So
It's always
it's
dangerous to
family
name
friendly.
your album the Feel Good Album of the Year.
Yeah, but it's like you would think, but because we don't claim, we're not flossing at all in this.
No,
We're talking about like family barbecues in Chicago and shit. Like it's really humble.
It really is feel good. It's just feel good music. It's kind of like a throwback to like early De La Soul kind of beats and everybody, and we're just having a good time on the record. But
And
anyway,
wait, where is the free download?
Q Brothers?
QBrothersOfficial.com.
Got it.
Yeah. So we have like he had heard that record and then he was like, you guys come and do this thing. Come perform at Kids-a-Palooza, basically. And we thought, okay, let's do that. And then he said, I also want to get you involved some other way. And between him and I and G, we figured out this way to make this booth. Why don't you tell him what happens in the booth?
We call it the One Stop Hip Hop Happy Hour Workshop, teaching your kids to rap, scratch, and beatbox. And this is how we rocks. They come in to the booth, right, and they line up, and we're like, do you want to rap or do you want to scratch? And so a lot of them are attracted to do what Jay's doing on the turntable, so they want to come over and do that. A lot of them want to rap, and they're like, I don't know how to rap. And so the whole point is that we just say, okay, what's your name? Billy.
Laura.
All right, Billy. What's your name? Laura.
Laura.
All right, Laura. What do you want to make a song about? We're going to call you MC Laura, okay? Because in hip-hop, the title for a rapper is called an MC, okay?
Okay.
So what do you want your hip-hop name to be? Sometimes we change it. Like, I go by GQ
MCL?
instead. Yeah, do you want to be MCL, or do you want to be like Lolo? Or like, is there a nickname?
Low Hey.
I like Lohe.
Lohe, all right. We got MC Lohay in the booth, everybody. Everyone give it up for MC Lohay.
What have I gotten myself into? I'm totally scared
Now here's what we're
right
gonna
now.
do. All right, what do you want to make a song about? What's one of your favorite things in the whole world?
Rainbows.
Rainbows.
Rainbows
All right.
are
This is a song
amazing.
about rainbows. Okay, first thing I need you to do, that's your DJ JQ. Say, yo, JQ.
Yo, JQ.
What's up, at Low-K?
Say, drop it like it's hot, son.
Drop it like it's hot.
But at this point, you have to picture like a 2.5-year-old or a 4-year-old saying, drop it like it's hot, son.
Right.
And it's adorable.
Okay, so here's
What?
We're gonna start. Ready? Say, drop it.
I'm
like
not
It's a different kind of adorable when
Okay,
you
thank
do
you.
it.
Go. Say, what's up, everybody? My name is Lohay.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, you just gotta repeat it right after me. Everybody, my name is Lohay.
What's up, everybody? My name is Lohay.
And this is a song about the rainbow way.
And this is a song about the rainbow way.
And yeah, that's right. Colors I give.
Yep, that's right. Colors I
You
give.
could also call me Roy G. Biv.
You can also call me Roy G. Biv.
That's like a little.
And so the coolest part.
The coolest part about it is that we record every single one of those live, and we at the end we say, hey, parents, we recorded that. If you want, give us your email. We'll send you that track. So 30 seconds later,
They're walking away. They got the phone. They're like, yeah, got it. Cool.
We have kids. We used to do CDs, and then people had to wait like a long time, and now it's so easy with obviously the current technology. But we have parents come back to us and say, like,
Look at my phone. I got a playlist. My
10
kid's been
songs.
here 10 times
Years
in a row. And we have a song for every year.
It's their own album featuring the Q Brothers, which is like.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. I'm totally embarrassed, but also so happy that we did that together.
Me too. You were great. You were great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't
Thank
know.
you.
I don't know whether to call you Lohay now or Roy G. Biv.
I like Lohay.
All right.
We have time for a couple questions from the audience.
Cool.
Hey guys, thank you
Hey.
for being here. What Shakespearean quote resonates with you the most?
Shakespearean quote.
Yeah.
See if I can remember any of them. I'm just kidding, kind of. I like, in practice, let us put it presently, which is just only half a line, and it's from
It's a little throwaway from Much Ado.
Much Ado. But when we messed with Much Ado and made Funk It Up About Nothing, we said, let us walk a pace quite pleasantly. In practice, let us put it presently. So I know it's like a shard of a phrase, but it always sticks in my head for some reason. In practice, let us put it presently. It's so like, let's do this now, and that is kind of how I want to live my life.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good ones. I don't know. I love the All the World's a Stage is amazing. I think probably Bennett, the ones I'm most familiar with are the ones we've translated and adapted and the characters that I played. And I played Benedict in Much Ado and in our version, Funk It Up. And I like when he just shouts out, like, he's been railing against women and love for so long, and then he just finally gives in, and then he says, the world must be peopled. And I just like, that's a good way of saying, like, I want to have sex.
Yeah.
You know, like, the world must be peopled. Like, I just think it's funny.
And, I'd rather be a thorn in a hedge than a rose in his grace. Is something that Don John says about his.
And what's
brother.
the Q Brothers version? I'd rather be a sore on the mouth of a whore than have a little more and have to do his chores.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good question. I better come up with some more for it next time that question happens.
Yeah,
I look like I don't.
I
look
you
like I
guys
don't
brushing
study.
up on your Shakespeare.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we get into our plays that we don't know. I don't know a lot of Shakespeare. I know the plays that we've translated so deeply that I actually forget what the original words were. And it's part of good. It's good. It's good for our process for me to do that. But I do want to have some more ammunition in my pocket the next time I get asked that.
Well, you guys have done like all the comedies. This is your first tragedy. When are you going to get into adapting the histories?
We got to figure out a way to do those real fast.
We're gonna do them all in one.
Oh, good.
And we're gonna have crossover characters like Richard II is gonna meet like
Henry, all these
VIII,
other ones.
you know, and
we'll have them all mixed
I'll
up.
have a bar fight or something like that. Like, who
Sweet.
knows?
I'll be there. Do we have another question?
Hi guys.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. I was wondering, what was your initial attraction to Shakespeare? Like, did you like it in high school? And what do you think about it that makes it so universal?
Two very different stories.
Yeah, two pretty different stories. I loved it. Like, I first read it in 7th or 8th grade when they first broke it out in my school, and everyone was kind of like, what is this? And for me, it was like, left brain me, I was just like, yes, like this is a puzzle. I can figure this out. I understand it through context. That word I know wherefore means why. I just substitute that in my head every time. For me, it was like learning another language, and I had so much fun with it. And so, but I'd never really thought about it more than that until G was like, yo, me and my friends are doing this thing. And then it just kind of steamrolled, and I was like, I'm with that. I like that stuff. So
Word. So I, at the same time, when I was 3.5 years ahead of him, I mean, older than him, I still am. That hasn't changed.
That's how age.
What I meant was when I was at that same point in time in 7th or 8th grade when they introduced it to us, I have a reading disability. So, like, I don't even like to call it that anymore, but that's what it was diagnosed as. I just came home. I remember being in tears and, like, throwing down whatever text it was they were having us read, Merchant of Venice or something, or Romeo and Juliet. I don't even remember because I hated it so much. And I told my mom, like, I can't stand this. I don't understand it. Like, it's for, like, rich people who think that it's pretty. And, like, I had all these preconceptions about it, too, that I didn't know how to address. And then when I was... for the rest of my life, I was just not a fan of it. I would go see it and be like, oh, I don't understand it. I'm not feeling it. I don't think I ever saw it performed very well until, actually, the big snapping point was across the street over at Tisch at ETW. I had two of my teachers and directors for a play. I got cast in a main stage there. You can't control what they're gonna put you in. They put me in Troilus and Cressida, and but this is at a time where my mind was opening, and I was studying physically based acting. It's whatever. It was opening in a lot of ways, but I remember we doing this exercise with Steve Wong and Raina von Waldenburg, two of the best directors and teachers I've ever had. And at the Experimental Theater Wing, we do exercises where you'll spend like 2 hours on like 2 lines of like, how does this vowel sound affect me, and what impulses is it creating inside of my body, and which ones open myself and make me vulnerable, and which consonants close me off and inform anger. So Shakespeare is doing all these things. He's informing an actor through language and through musical language. And I remember when it snapped. It's like, it was music, right? It's totally music. And it wasn't meant to be read. It wasn't meant, there wasn't people like buying copies of his plays. They were just like, have you seen this one? Have you seen this one? And the different troupes are doing them. It was meant to be performed. It's a piece of music. Like, it makes so much sense. And that was before we serendipitously fell upon adapting Shakespeare. So that's what opened my mind to it. And then when my friend was like, what about Shakespeare? I wasn't closed off to saying, let's explore which one of those we should go for.
That was so beautifully said. I think you guys are such a perfect example of guys who just like made your own thing. You just went, what is resonating with me? What am I struggling with? And how can I take the resources that are at my fingertips right now and make something? And that was 20 years ago, and you're still doing it, and you're off Broadway, and John Leguizamo is presenting your show, and like
We couldn't feel more blessed. I'm just grateful.
Well, you did the work,
Yeah,
and you made it happen.
with my best friend and my brother, and
I love you guys.
love you too.
I think we actually have time for a couple more questions.
Cool.
Hey guys, what's the process like when you're creating the songs? Do you try to come up with some of the beats or the lyrics?
Yeah, it goes both ways sometimes. So like initially, a lot of the initial translation G does himself because the line for line is I am a better editor than a pure creator. He's like pure creation, and he can like go. And if I'm around, I'm gonna slow that process down in a way that's not advantageous for us. And so I try and go away and then just read the play and start making beats that feel like the mood of the play to me. And then I come back and start like editing with him. And then we'll say like, that feels like that's gonna be a song. Let's kind of decide what that song's gonna be about and maybe come up with a hook or some idea of a hook. And then let me go and make this different piece of music. Because what happens when the entire show is in rhyme and the entire show's over music, you can't have incredibly rich music going the whole time, because it will become sort of like a wall of sound and the audience's ears get tired. And also it doesn't give the actor enough freedom to act certain lines out, because there are ups and downs within every scene and within every line even. And so when you're performing, you want some freedom to be like, oh no, it's cool, but this guy, you know, and have dynamics. And so if I made the beat super aggressive, then his shrugging stuff off wouldn't play. And if I made it too light, then when he got argumentative, it wouldn't play. And so the beats for the scenes have to remain super skeletal. So a lot of my initial passes of like ideas of moods end up in those spots. And then when we figure out where songs go, I build it like we do a hip hop song, like from scratch, and sometimes lyrics, sometimes not. Then I'll make the beat and we'll go, well, we like the music and the music's right here and these words don't fit anymore. We have to adjust it back. And so it's constantly a kind of dance with that.
Jay always says it's more like an opera than a musical, than a traditional musical, because all the scenes are over beats and because the music never stops, aside from a couple short breaths for good reasons. But like it's across the board, there's just music. So like to pop those musical numbers, you have to really make them numbers and separate them that way, so that people get used to hearing everything in rhyme as the normal everyday, and then hearing everything in rhyme, but like with hooks and with everything elevated.
Bigger lights and bigger sounds and strings on the chorus and all that stuff. It also, like, part of it is like we use for the scenes, they're more like 2 and 4 bar loops. And we need freedom in case things go off track a little bit. We need to be able to figure out our way back. But on a number, on a song where a chorus hits, we actually can't really screw up the timing, because then the chorus will land at the wrong time, because it's not a band, it's a DJ. And so that's kind of locked. Not entirely, but it's pretty locked. Yeah.
Do we have time for one more?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Who are your favorite hip-hop artists or musical influences? And I loved your role in Drumline.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. My favorite hip-hop artist, or most influential, I would say, would be Redman, Ludacris, Eminem, and on some level, like Big Wax.
Yeah, we like also like the things that I remember the most. I mean, I love so much hip hop and so much music in general, but I love things that kind of have narrative. I realized like later, those are the things that actually stuck with me more. So like Slick Rick was a huge one for me. Biz Markie, people who told stories a lot. Common tells a lot of stories. Run DMC told a lot of stories. You know, so I like Eminem for that reason too. It's just like there's songs that the entire thing are a narrative. I love Prince Paul. I love people that are trying to break form. I love Outkast. Anyone that's kind of messing with how it's supposed to be done, this is cool with me, because, you know, there's enough of the same stuff out there. So I give like 90% of my marks for originality, and then like 10, you know, is hard work and talent or whatever, you know. But the originality is the biggest thing for me.
Outsiders.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I like a lot of Jersey hip hop. So
Yeah. Once upon a time up in Jersey.
You want to do a
No,
verse?
I was just,
Well, I wanted to just point out the show opens with you guys saying, good storytellers borrow, but great ones steal. I would say that if Shakespeare was alive right now, he would happily give his material to you because
thank
you
you.
have done it proud.
that's cool.
JQ and GQ, thank you for being here. Everybody
hey.
go see Othello, the remix.
Thank you.
See you guys soon.
Thanks for
You're
having
the
me.
best.